We are really happy to have Kieran Clark live with us from Scotland, from St. Andrews. As you can see in my background, I have a picture of the Swilcan Bridge with the patio that they tried to build on there on the run-up area.
Hmm.
Kieran, was this much ado about nothing, or what's going on at St. Andrews?
Well, it was extraordinary, Fred, and perhaps it was a reflection of a slow news week. But for those who are not aware, who are not perhaps in the social media bubble, last weekend in February, there we had this escalation where over the winter, the St Andrews Links Trust, which manages the Old Course and all the golf courses here and tries to sustain them for generations to come, they were adding this little patio stone structure around the Swilcan Bridge, or the Golfers Bridge, as it was historically known as, to try and maintain it in the future. Because, as people who might not know, it receives an amazing amount of traffic. It's probably the closest landmark we have in golf to like a religious landmark where anyone can go and get their picture taken on it, even if they're not golfers, which is fabulous to me. It's one of the great things about it. And we're recording on a Sunday, Fred. And today, for example, the Old Course is closed for golf. And basically, those grounds become a public park. People are walking their dogs, taking their kids out for the day, and anyone can go and get a picture taken on the bridge. So that's tremendous. It's very unique in golf. Augusta National. This is not Cypress Point. This is not Pine Valley. You can't go there, but anyone can go here. But of course, that traffic leads to an awful lot of wear and tear on either side of the bridge on the grass. And they've tried to find various solutions to this through the years, haven't quite managed to do it. And their solution this winter was to try and build this sort of stone structure around it. Now, I've been aware of this for a while. And when I saw that it was getting done, I asked at the time, I said, what are they doing there? And I was told, and I thought, that is not going to go down very well when people realize what they've done. And this
Appears
is back in
change does not go well at the Old Course.
well, it doesn't. And they've changed many things about the Old Course through the generations, but this is a particular landmark that's very kind of sacred and protected now. Obviously, it's very iconic. We all remember the great players who have walked across that bridge. Really, every great player in the history of golf, apart from Ben Hogan, has crossed that bridge at least once. So they made this addition to it. And last week, it was kind of secretly unveiled. And it was a guy called the UK Golf Guy on Twitter, who's David Jones, who's a very kind of big now kind of social media influencer in UK golf. Does fantastic content around golf courses and golf trips. Does some really good stuff, and he photographed it. That photograph you have right behind you, I think, was actually his, and that went out on social media, and everyone jumped on it. You know, Nick Faldo was there. People were calling it sacrilegious. It's a disgrace. How could you do this? And it took off massively.
I mean, social
And
media just like exploded with this
yeah,
thing. I've never seen so much action over such a minor little deal.
it's a really, apart from like Tiger Woods coming back to golf, this has been the biggest story of the year so far because it was amazing. And what struck me, Fred, was how quickly it escalated. So that was the Saturday when it became public and everyone started sharing it and all the anger was there. And within a day, the Links Trust put out a public statement saying, well, we're doing this for this reason. It's a sustainable project. It's not finished yet. We'll wait and see how we go. And that was that there. But of course, it still continued. And then it was on last Monday when it was John Huggan of Golf Digest went to have a look at it, and he was taken around by some of the media guys at the Links Trust, and they were explaining to him, well, it's not quite finished yet. Come back in a year's time and see how it looks. But then, literally within 2 or 3 hours after that, they put another statement saying, that's it, we've listened, we're digging it up, it's not what we wanted it to be. And then, literally, the following morning, it was gone. And now there's lovely new turf laid down on it, and you wouldn't even know anything had happened. So, an amazing sort of 48 hours of just escalation. And I do have some kind of speculation as to what may have happened there, because the Fife Council, which is basically the local government, announced they're doing an investigation into this, and they were wondering whether the Links Trust had to actually apply
Oh, it's
retrospectively for
always
planning
good when you get
permission.
government involved in it.
Yeah, because
Oh,
the government
yeah.
thought, it's a
We're the
listed
government. We're here
landmark.
to help you.
Yeah, it's a listed landmark. Did the Links Trust have to ask them for permission to lay this patio down? And maybe the answer was yes. I don't know. But that's just pure speculation. But I guess you can say, from my perspective as being a resident here and a ticket holder at the golf courses and someone who obviously respects the golf course and the history of it, I'm not a fan of what they tried to do. I understand the need for a solution to it. I don't think this was it, and I really don't think it was particularly well executed. The one thing I will say though, Fred, is I think they were a little bit caught out. It wasn't finished yet, but in a way, it's their own fault because they never communicated about it beforehand, never told anyone they were going to be doing this, never consulted with the local community, and I think that was a mistake from a PR perspective. So they were kind of caught out by their secrecy. Um, so yeah, to me, now it's back to how it should be. So anyone coming to St Andrews this year will be able to get their picture on the bridge, and it will look just as it always has. And to me, Fred, this bridge has been there for at least 600 years. I say it's probably the most iconic landmark in golf that anyone can go and see and get their own moment on. And to me, that's something that should be protected above all costs. And if they have to lay down new grass every 6 months, then to me, I think that's a price worth paying. But what I will say though is, to their credit, I guess, they recognized a mistake was made and they addressed it and they changed it. And not everyone does that. As you know, Fred, people have a habit of doubling down on their mistakes. And I guess to their credit, they realized that it wasn't the thing to do. And now it's back to normal. But as you say, an amazing, only in golf could you have such a media backlash over what is in most people who are not involved in golf would think, what are they all talking about? All this over a bridge. But you know what? That bridge does mean an awful lot to people, it seems to me.
So Kieran, so St. Andrews is owned by the city and it's a park on Sundays. So
Yeah.
is it a nice day there? Are you having good weather in February? Are people still playing golf during the week there? What's going on there right now?
The weather has actually been quite decent lately. It's overcast day today, but relatively calm, relatively warm as well for the time of year. So it's a day people are playing golf all the time. We had a very cold December. There wasn't much golf played then, but since then the weather has improved. So they're now building up to the main season. Obviously we're now almost in March. We get towards April. That's when it all really kicks off. So
St.
this
Andrews
is kind
never
of
really closes, does it?
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Really, it's opened all year. They do play, the golf courses are played off fairway mats in the winter to try and protect them, obviously, because of the traffic that they get. But it remains very busy. Obviously, in the summertime, you will get an awful lot of the US visitors, Canadians, Asians, Australians coming here that time of year. In the wintertime, you tend to get a lot more of the British golfers. Some of the golfers come from like Scandinavia, like Sweden and so on. They can't play golf at all in the winter there. So they come over here in December and January. They have some very good packages available and they play the winter golf here. So yeah, the golf courses never shut down. They're always open. And that's, people can criticize the Links Trust that manages it all for different things, but ultimately they put on, and the golf courses are also in fantastic condition given the traffic. And of course, unlike some of the great private golf courses in the US, this golf course here, the Auld Course, doesn't just get the traffic from golfers. I mean, it had general public can go and walk around it and say on a Sunday and their dogs and their kids and everything else. And to me,
So
that's a
what
very
happens
special thing.
if a dog poops on the fairway and somebody doesn't pick it up? What happens with that? Are they thrown in jail or what?
Well, I
Somebody
mean,
shoot them?
well, that's perhaps in the US they might do that, but not here. Of course, we're very civilized here. But no, I think over there, I mean, here you kind of hope people wouldn't do that, but it does
In New York or
unfortunately.
Chicago, you can go ahead and shoot somebody, but
Oh,
not
yeah,
not
well,
at St.
yeah,
Andrews.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the different vibe in New York and Chicago than it is here. We're much more civilized, but yeah, ultimately that's unfortunately a job that's left to the green staff here, and that's not a nice
Really?
job to have. Yeah, they have to go around every day, make sure the golf courses are immaculate and clean. But of course, what you hope is people
Do they get
themselves.
hazard duty for that then, or what?
Well, yeah, wear the hazmat suits perhaps and go and do it, but yeah, you do hope people do because actually here you can get fined if you don't pick up after your dog. But sadly, some people seem to think that on the golf course they can they can do what they like. But we have to remember as well, Fred, though, is because the golf courses are open up to everybody on a Sunday. People walk on the golf courses who don't really know much about golf or even are aware of the etiquette of it. I mean, literally, you can stand on that 18th tee when you're actually playing golf, and people walk on that fairway right behind you in that picture and will be completely unaware you're hitting golf shots at them. You'll shout, four, four, four. No, they have no idea what you're talking about. And they'll keep walking across the fairway. So the hazards on the Old Course aren't just the bunkers or the smoke and burn. Often it's just members of the public just stumbling on, not knowing where they are. So, but again, that's part of the charm of it. And to me, it's something that we always want to see protected. And again, that's why the the trust were trying to sustain the ground around the bridge better because they don't want to be forced to have to close it off to people. They want to keep it accessible and open for everyone, and that's something that should be respected and again celebrated. But yeah, I mean, on a Sunday, the Old Course closes, but the other ones are still open. So golf does continue, just not on the famous old links on a Sunday.
We want to thank Kieran Clark for taking time out on
Thank
his
you.
Sunday to come on and talk to us here at Back Nine Report again. We've been working with Kieran for a long, long time, and we always appreciate having him on. Thank you, Kieran.
Thank you. My pleasure.